Lesson 6-4, rectangles. We need to know that a rectangle is also a parallelogram, which means every condition for a quadrilateral to be a parallelogram is also true for rectangles. But a rectangle also has an additional condition because it has 4 right angles. Because of the way it is, it means that its diagonals are always going to be congruent with one another. So they bisect each other, yes, but where they bisect makes 4 congruent sections, not just 2. Alright? So in number 1, we know that JK is 12 feet, and we know that LN is 6.5 feet. We want to find KM. Because this is a rectangle, every one of these little pieces is 6.5 feet. So if MN is 6.5, and NK, this little piece right here, is also 6.5, how can we find KM? Multiply by 2, and we get 13 feet. Example 2. We know that RTU, this angle right here, is 8x plus 4. We know that SUR is 3x minus 2. Because of where they are, we know that this angle is 90, this angle is 90. So together, they add up to 90 degrees. So let's write an equation. 8x plus 4 plus 3x minus 2 equals 90. Let's simplify the left. Okay, subtract 2. And solve for x. X equals 8, which is what we wanted to find. Make sure when you're doing homework, classwork, quiz, or a test that you look at the directions and make sure, do I solve for x or do I find the length or the measure of something? Because sometimes you need to know that measure of each angle, not just what x is. In this case, it tells you just to find x. Okay, number 3. You know that AB equals 12. You know that BC equals 35. CD is also 12. DA is also 35. BD is 37, and AC is 37. So what I see is opposite sides are congruent, which tells me what? That it's a parallelogram. So I'm going to state that AB is congruent to DC, and AD is congruent to BC. Because opposite sides are not only congruent, it tells me that this shape is a parallelogram. So therefore, ABCD is a parallelogram. Now, in order for us to tell that it's a rectangle, either my four angles need to all be 90 degrees, or my diagonals must be congruent, which is what it says in Theorem 6.13. If a parallelogram is a rectangle, then the diagonals are congruent. Okay? So, since CB is congruent to AD, that means that my parallelogram is also a rectangle. Okay, that's all we needed for that one. Turn the page and go ahead and start graphing number 4. Okay, there's my rectangle. I want to make sure it's a rectangle by using the distance formula. So what I need to know is the length of all of these sides to prove that it's a parallelogram. And then I need to find the length of the diagonals to prove that it's a rectangle. So I actually have to do the distance formula 6 times. So let's do these short pieces. JK first. The distance of JK, square root, and you can just use your points up here. You take your x's, square them, and your y's, square them. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 squared is 9. 4 minus 3, 1 squared, 1, square root of 10. Let's see if this bottom side, LM, is also the same. Okay, so this is 3 squared, that's 9. Negative 2 plus 3, that's 1 squared. Okay, those two are congruent. Let's check JM and KL. Okay, negative 2 squared is 4. 6 squared, 36. Square root of 40. Let's see if this other side, KL, is also square root of 40. Okay, 1 minus 3, negative 2, square it, 4. 4 plus 2, 6, squared, 36. Okay, so we need to state JK equals ML and JM equals KL. Therefore, JKLM is a parallelogram. But we want to make sure it's a rectangle. So in order for it to be a rectangle, the diagonals here need to also be congruent. So I have a diagonal here, JL, and I have a diagonal here, KM. I need to find the distance of both of those. So let's find the distance of JL. So this is -5 squared, 25, and 5 squared is another 25, square root of 50. And let's see if this diagonal KM is also the square root of 50. So 1 squared is 1, 7 squared is 49. Hey, those two are both square root of 50. So since my diagonals equal each other, parallelogram JKLM is a rectangle. That's what we wanted to know. And there's our proof, right here. Okay, your turn. You are going to do this on your own, and I will check it tomorrow during class. Only thing I'm going to tell you is slope formula. What do you think you're going to need to prove a rectangle is a rectangle? If you said right angles, that's correct, which means your slopes are perpendicular. You want to show me that your sides are perpendicular. I'll check it tomorrow.